everyone. Happy Monday. I hope your day is off to a great start. It is Monday, May 31st, and for those of you joining, my name is Stephanie Nash. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and I am the proud owner of Inspire Me, which is my business where I demonstrate handmade cards and gifts and teach people how to channel their inner creativity. So Monday nights, every week at 8 p.m. Eastern, I come online to craft with all of you. It's the next best thing since we're still under stay-at-home orders and cannot get together in person. So I hope you will tune in, share the video. Every week I do a draw for those who share this feed during the live event. And if you share, you'll be entered to win the projects we're going to make tonight. So that's always fun to receive happy mail of cards that you can then send to your family and friends. Be sure to leave me comments, give me thumbs up and hearts if you like things that you're seeing. I love to try and interact with you while we are crafting together. So I am going to go ahead and get started. I'm watching the replay on my iPad, and normally there's closed captioning and I'm not quite sure what's happening with it. It's all scrambled and jumbled, so hopefully you're not trying to read the closed captioning to follow, because I can't read it. Hopefully it's okay for you if you are trying to read it. I'm going to flip my screen around so that we can get started. I have two projects for us tonight, one featuring a masculine card and then the other is going to be a technique card. And I realized I hadn't set up my camera yet, so let me do that. I apologize, sorry. It's gonna be a little wishy-washy while I do that. I was on a Zoom call prior to coming live, so the time that I would usually use to get set up was spent on that meeting. Okay, so hopefully that's good. We're not too zoomed in. So this is the stamps that we're going to be using tonight. And I know you get that glare from my lighting. So it is called A Good Man. There we go. That's a good shot. And this is a great masculine stamp set. So it's got, you know, 3 line art images, which are perfect for coloring if you're like me and you like to color. You've got dad holding a little girl, dad with a little boy, and then dad chillaxing in his little beach chair. And then we've got some great sentiments. So this is an all-around great masculine stamp set, but it's especially good for Father's Day coming up. So let me show you the first project we're going to make. Hi Pat, thanks for sharing. So this is our first card. And I love this because it's got some texture in the background. We've got some designer series paper, and then of course we get to color a little bit. So let's show you how I created that. So we're going to start with soft suede, and normally my bases are 8.5 by 5.5. So this one is actually 11 by 4 1/4, because instead of opening like a book, it's going to open from the bottom. So just a little bit different tonight. You can go ahead and fold that in half. So it's still going to be a standard quarter fold measuring 4 1/4 by 5.5. It's just got that little bit different opening. And I'm going to burnish my edges with my bone folder just to get that nice crisp fold. So there's our base. Next we have a layer of crumb cake, and this piece of crumb cake measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. And crumb cake is super nice on its own and looks great, but I wanted to add that texture to it. So we're going to do some embossing, which I'm going to do off camera. And I'm going to show you what we're using. So I am using the Tasteful Textures 3D embossing folder, and if you've not used one of these before, it's a little folder. We're going to stick our paper in there, and what I like to do, if you can see on the front here, there's a line. So I like to line up the edge of my cardstock with that line. It's not so bad when there's not a definitive direction of the pattern we're embossing, but if there's, you know, flowers or there's a pattern that really has a direction to it, it's great to give you that guidance. So I'm just going to run it through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which I have off camera for space reasons. And when you're running things through the embossing machine, you always want to put the spine going through first. All right. So now when I bring that back into camera, you see it's already added that texture to the designer series paper. How fabulous is that? So it adds a little something extra to your projects that people suddenly go, that's really cool. How'd you do that? So I'm going to attach this right to our base using my Stampin' seal. And because this is a 3D textured embossing folder, when I'm applying my adhesive, I'm going slowly, because if you go too quickly, the seal will actually pick up the fibers of the paper and start to tear it. So I'm going to layer that on top, and it should leave about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around based on how we cut that layer. So the next thing I have is a piece of designer series paper, and this measures 2 inches by 4 inches, and this is from the In the Wild DSP pack. So I have a little sample here. It's a lot easier than trying to bring out all my 12 by 12s. So here is our In the Wild. So you can see it's a very jungle type print. We've got some cats, tigers in golds and oranges, and then we've got some greenery, some flowers, some tiger stripes, some leopard spots in both the Cajun and the evening evergreen. This is the piece we're using of the beautiful ferns, and then there's some more bold flowers on the other side, and then some more animals and terracotta type colors. And then these are the coordinating colors. So this is why I like to do samplers, because it's an easy reference for the colors I want to try and pull in. So in this case, it's basic black, Cajun craze, crushed curry, evening evergreen, Mary Merlot, and soft succulent. So we have this piece, again, 2 inches by 4 inches, and we're just going to attach that to the base, again, using our seal. Pat, it does almost look like honeycomb. It's so pretty. It's actually one of my favorite embossing folders. I use it quite often. So that should fit edge to edge perfectly. And then we can tuck that to the side just for a moment, because we're going to do some stamping and some coloring. So I'm going to pull in a piece of basic white, and this is 2.5 by 3. So no, it's 2.25 by 3.5. Get my measurements right. And we are going to use Dad sitting in his beach chair. We're going to stamp that in Memento black ink. And I always like to stamp upside down just to make sure that my image is fully covered. We're going to apply that towards the top of our piece of cardstock, because we are going to put our sentiment underneath. And the trick to rubber stamping is you just want to apply firm pressure and lift straight off. People have the tendency to want to rock their stamp to try and get that coverage, but when you do that, you can often end up with halos if you've got ink on the rubber around the image. So just nice firm pressure, straight up, straight down. And then I have the Relax Your Way stamp, which we're also going to do in Memento. And that's going to go right underneath Dad lounging in his chair, because he's relaxing. Straight down, straight up. Lovely. Now, if you're like me and you like to color for some color therapy, I'm going to pull in a bunch of blends, and don't be intimidated by the number I have here. Each color has 2 blends, a light and a dark, and that is so that you can blend the color together and create this beautiful shadowing. So I always like to start with the dark shade and then fill in with the light to blend it out. So I'm actually going to start with his shorts. And what I love about this line art, before I actually start coloring, is you can see here there's some areas where Stampin' Up! Has tried to provide guidance as to where there might be shadows or details. So that's where I'm going to apply the dark, is right over top of those areas. So in the shorts, there's really not that much. So that was Smoky Slate. This is the light Smoky Slate. So I'm going to go right in over top. I like to use a circular motion just to blend in those dark areas so that you don't have those harsh lines. So there's his shorts. And then I'm going to come in with just Jade as my green. I wanted it slightly brighter than the soft succulent that goes with the DSP. So again, I'm going to take my dark first. And I'm just going to go over those spots where Stampin' Up's already given us lines to indicate some shading. So down his side. Across the front of the shirt. So there's the dark. And then again, with the light, we're just going to fill that in using a circular motion to blend. And what I love about the Stampin' blends is you can go over the area as much as you want and not worry about tearing your paper. They are alcohol-based markers, so they are designed to be used to do just what they're called, which is blend in the ink. So you can see that the more I go over, the more those hard lines disappear. So you can play with them, decide what you like in terms of shading and coloring. And I like how I get a little bit of the light popping through as well as I'm coloring, so it just adds another dimension to those colors. So next I want to do his hat. So I'm going to use Crumb Cake, and that's because it coordinates with our DSP, sorry, our backdrop. So again, start with the dark, and I'm just going to go over those lines already determined for us, and then fill that in with the light. Lovely. Next, I'm going to come in with an ivory Stampin' blend. So Stampin' Up has provided us with an ivory and a bronze color to create skin tones. So we're going to color in the skin here. And actually, one of the resources I keep meaning to post to my website and haven't yet, so stay tuned, because now that I'm talking about it, it's going to give me a reminder to go in and do it, is a skin tone chart. So obviously there are many different skin tones in the world. It's not just ivory or bronze. So I have a chart that when you use different shades of the blends, you can create different shades of skin tones. So I will post that resource for you. So now he's got his color, and then I'm going to take a light evening evergreen, which coordinates again with our DSP, and I'm just going to create some lines on his beach chair just to give it some color here. So there's already lines there. We're just going to fill in the stripes so it doesn't look quite so stark. And then last but not least, we want to add a little bit of shadow under his chair. So I am going to use the dark Crumb Cake, and again, just along where these lines already are, I'm going to fill in with the Crumb Cake. There we go. So now it looks like he's got some shadowing under his chair in the sand. So that is going to get mounted to a piece of soft suede, so keeping our colors together. So this is 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. Now I need to measure, hang on. I prepped these earlier tonight, and of course now I can't remember what size they are, nor can I find my ruler. So I will pull in my trimmer. Let's double check these sizes. So this is 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. So then this is 2 1/2 by 3 1/4. All right. So our image is going to get attached to that layer of soft suede with our seal. I love how quickly and easily this card comes together. and you can totally change it up just by changing out the designer series paper. So if you have the beautiful well-suited designer series paper that's in the mini catalog, which are the navies and the blacks and the grays and the reds, you could use that to change out your background colors for some grays and reds, color his shirt a little bit differently, and you have a completely different look with the same layout. Love it. So we're going to attach Dad's image here to the base with Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm still watching the closed captioning, and it looks like it's just continuously typing over what was already existing. So it just looks like this mess of stuff. I don't know what's going on. And then Dad gets layered over top. Make sure I've got this the right way. Yes. Right in the center. Give it a good push. And there we have our first project of the night. Isn't that awesome? What a great card for Dad. Father's Day is right around the corner. You can use it for Father's Day. You could use it for Dad's birthday. You know, your husband, your uncles, your brother, whomever. It's a great masculine card, and I know many people struggle with finding great masculine layouts, so this is a perfect one for that. Talk about dedicated, watching you end the game. That is dedication, Pat. I appreciate that. Don't tell me the score. My intent is to go right upstairs and watch the game after we're done here. I have one more project. This one's a little more involved, but I thought it was important. So there's been a lot of things happening in the media lately, and tolerance and believing in diversity are two very important things to me. So I wanted to create a card to celebrate Pride Month, which begins tomorrow. Sorry, it's all of June, begins tomorrow. We have people very close to the family that are part of the LGBTQ plus communities, and so we are an ally, and I thought today would be a great time to make a Pride celebration card. So this is the card we're going to make. Don't mind the little black smudge. I knocked my ink pad on top of it after I finished it, and it features the inlaid floating technique. So I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up. So the circle is actually popped up off the base, and the butterfly is inlaid inside of it. So it's actually right on the base. So it creates this dimension, and I just don't think the camera is doing it justice. So I'm going to show you how I did this. So the first thing you want to do is start with a base. In this case, I am using thick basic white, and it's my standard 8.5 by 5.5. We're going to fold that in half. And with the thick cardstock, I always use my bone folder because otherwise it just doesn't lay flat when you fold the card. And then I'm going to put that to the side because we won't need that for a little bit. So I've pulled out rainbow colors, which are pride, the symbol of pride. So if you think about a rainbow, I've always known it as Roy G. Biv. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. We don't have an indigo color, so I've skipped that, but we have our colors. So the colors here I am using are Real Red, Mango Melody, Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green, Pacific Point, and Gorgeous Grape. And they look fabulous together, don't you think? Love it. And then I am also using a piece of our window sheets. So I don't know if you can see that. It's just a piece of acetate. They almost look like, I'm going to date myself now, they look like overhead projector sheets, if you remember what those are. So we're going to use this to build our overlay. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull in my trimmer. And I am just going to cut 1/2 inch strips in each of the colors. So I have my red, and you'll notice that they're not the same length, and that's okay because we're going to be cutting at that circle. So there's my orange, yellow, granny, So this is a great technique to use up your scraps if you're looking for something to do with them. Pat, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Overhead projector sheets. It's true. Kids today will never understand the trials and tribulations of overhead projectors. All right, so there are my colors. So now we're actually going to attach them to our sheet of acetate. So I want to do those in rainbow order. So all I'm going to do is use my Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to put a line all the way across, and I'm going to attach that to my window sheet. Now it doesn't matter how far from the edge you start, because we are cutting them out. So there's my red. Next I'm going to do orange, or in this case Mango Melody. And I really want to put these close together, so they're about a 1/16 of an inch apart. So they just, I don't know if you can see my hand through there, they're really not far apart. So we have our daffodil. And I apologize if you get my head in the shot while I try to line these up. There's our yellow. So we have Granny Apple Green next. So you can actually do this technique with any strips of paper. It doesn't have to be rainbow, obviously. It's great for scraps of DSP. If you're like me and you hoard all your scraps because you'll find a use for them and then you never do, this is the card for you. This is what you want to try. So there's our Pacific Point, and last our Gorgeous Grape. Like so. All right, so now we've got those on our acetate, and I mean really that could be almost a pride flag if I trimmed it. So pretty. Hi Sonia. So now what I want to do is I actually want to cut out my circles. So I am going to use the Layering Circles dies, and I am going to use, thanks for sharing Sonia, I'm going to use the largest of the solid circles. So of course, if you've not used these dies before, I've pointed this out. There are 2 sets of solids and 2 sets of scallops. These 2 sets coordinate, so if you wanted to create a mat for your solid circles, these are the scallops to do it, and then these 2 sets coordinate in terms of sizing. So I'm using the largest circle here, and I am going to cut that circle on my colors that I've created. And again, it doesn't matter how much of the colors I have in there, but when you're running this through your machine, you're probably going to want to run it back and forth 3 or 4 times to make sure it cuts all the way through, because it's a lot to cut through all the cardstock and the acetate on the back side. So I'm going to do that off camera. I tried to do most of the cutting for this card ahead of time just because I knew this was going to take a little bit. So that's once. So without taking it out of the machine, I'm just cranking it through a second time, and then I'm going to go a third time, and I'm going to go one more for good measure. So now when I take that out, you can see the circle's still in there pretty well. It should easily pop out, and we have this beautiful rainbow circle that we can play with. So the next thing we want to do is create the hollow for the inlaid portion. So I'm going to use our Brilliant Wings dies for this. And so I'm using this die here, and you'll notice off the camera here I have a black butterfly. So I've already cut out the basic black butterfly using this die, and that's what we're going to inlay into our circle. But we need to cut out the gap for it. So I'm going to place my butterfly on the circle, and again I'm going to run this through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm probably going to do this the same 4 or 5 times back and forth, especially because this one is so detailed. We need to get all of those little bits out to create the hollow. So again, just off camera here, you can see my side profile. You see that I'm cranking this through. It does actually go through really easily, surprisingly. It's just, again, there's so much detail in this butterfly, and the acetate's a little bit harder to cut, that I want to make sure it's going to come out really easily. Okay. Let's try this. So you can see it's not quite coming out at the top here. So with the acetate, you can kind of play with it a little bit. You can also pull in your paper snips, or because it's still attached, I can actually run it through again just to try and get it. So it's the antenna here on the back side that's getting stuck in the acetate. So I'm just going to run those through again to try and get those to cut. Alright, so they still don't want to come out. I'm going to pull my die off. So now I have this beautiful butterfly that we can play with. And I'm going to pull in my paper snips. And I'm actually going to flip it over to the back side so I can see where I'm cutting. And the lines are already there from the die, so you're just helping them out a little bit with your snips. And if you use a less detailed die, you shouldn't have to do this. It's just because this butterfly is so intricate. Of course, you know, I picked the image that was going to be a little bit more finicky when I created this. There we go. It just takes a little bit of patience. But the end result is totally worth it. There we go. So close. It's right there. Right there. I can see it. I know exactly where it's stuck. Right there. Haha. There we go. So now we have that hollow for our base. So now what we get to do, sorry, I'm falling off my chair. So we get to start building our card. So I'm going to pull my base back in, and we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to attach our circle to the card base. And because the strips are 1/2 inch, you can use a full-size dimensional, but you're going to want mini dimensionals along the side, or you want to cut the edges of your full-size dimensionals to fit in there without being seen through the gaps. So there's my minis, and then I'm going to use my full-size dimensionals along here. And you'll notice I'm being extra supportive just because I don't want this going anywhere. So there we have our circle. We're going to put one there. All right, so now you can peel off the backs of all of those dimensionals. And we're going to attach that right to our base. Like so. And then we want to put our butterfly in there. So we are going to use our multi-purpose glue, and I'm going to put a very thin coat of glue on the butterfly. As I say that, I glob it into the corners, trying to get as much coverage as you can just so it sticks to the base. Oh, there we go. And it's going to fit right in that hollow, right down to the card base. You might need to play with it a little bit to get it into position, especially the antenna. I'm actually going to use the edge of my paper snips to get those antennae where they need to be. There we go. Lovely. So there we have our butterfly in there, and again, it's inlaid, so you can see there's a bit of gap between the butterfly and the circle. And now we're going to stamp our happy on there. So I am actually using the happy birthday greeting from the Sweet as a Peach stamp set. So it's this stamp here, but I only want the happy. So I'm going to use my black Stampin' Right marker, and I'm going to use the brush tip. I'm going to use it on its side just to ink up the happy. So basically you're just coloring on the stamp itself with the edge of the marker. You're going to breathe on it, and then you're going to stamp it right underneath the circle and then lift. So there is our happy. And then next we have our pride that I've already cut out to save some time, using our same rainbow colors minus the gorgeous grape, because pride is only 5 letters and we had 6 colors. So again, real red, mango melody, daffodil delight, oops, sticking to me, granny apple green, and Pacific Point. And had I been smart, I would have used our adhesive sheets on the back of these so I could just peel and stick. But I was not so smart, so we are going to use our multi-purpose glue once again to attach these. So what I like to do is space them out first to see where I need them to be before I start sticking. And I do like to use something like a ruler or my silicone mat as a guideline. It's got an edge to it so that I can make sure that they're straight. So I'm going to start with my eye, lay my silicone mat across there so that I can butt my edges up against the mat. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of my multi-purpose glue. And because we have 5 letters, your eye is a good place to start because it is the center. So we're going to go right there. And then I like to build out from the center. So I want my R and my D, and then my P and my E. And again, we're just going to use our multi-purpose glue. Use the mat as the guideline to butt the edge against to make sure that they're straight. Another reason to use your mat is your adhesive won't stick to this. So if I were to get glue all over the mat and let it dry, it's just going to pick right off. So it's a great workspace item. So there is our E, and now we're going to go with our R. My fingers are all sticky from the glue. So there's the R. And last, our P. Using that edge. So there we have our Pride themed card to celebrate the LGBTQ plus community, which is it's Pride Month all of June. And as I mentioned, we are an ally. We've got some very close family friends that are members of the community, and we support them fully. So I'm going to come back around and talk to you, but let's pull both of those projects in so you can see them. So there's our 2 cards for this evening. So let's come back around. All right, so hopefully you loved those. I had so much fun creating them. The Pride themed card was actually inspired by another demonstrator, Lisa Hardy. She had made a card for Pride, and I thought, oh, what a great idea. So then I had to go in and create a Pride card as well. So thank you to Lisa for the idea. Don't forget that my card club is still open for registration. The cutoff is June 7th. This month we are featuring the hand penned petals stamp set. So you'll make 6 cards, 3 different designs, 2 of each card. I have already posted a sneak peek of one, and you'll get everything you need to create the projects in the mail. So the cardstock, the die cuts, any embellishments, and then I usually throw in some treats and some goodies in there as well. So you can join in until the 7th at www.inkspireme.com. The link is in the bio of the video. I also have some workshops coming up, some classes coming up. I have Stampin' Bingo this weekend, which I'm super excited about. Yay. And I have my retreat. So I talked about it last week that it was going to be going up. It is up and it is live. It will happen on August 21st. It is an all-day online retreat. You will make 10 projects minimum. There will be games and door prizes. There will be optional add-on classes as well. You're going to get an exclusive swag bag filled with at least $50 worth of Stampin' Up! Products. And then there will be pillow gifts and some additional goodies from me as part of that retreat package. So registration is open and you can sign up now. I'm so excited. For those of you that have been contemplating joining Stampin' Up! As a demonstrator, even if it's just to take advantage of the amazing starter kit deal, today is the last day to get the extra money towards your starter kit. So normally you would pay $135 and choose $165 in product. For today only, because it ends tonight, you actually get to choose $206 worth of product. It's amazing. There's no shipping, and in Ontario and some other provinces there's no tax, which means you're actually getting about $121 worth of products for free. It is the best deal out there. There is never any obligation to sell. If you simply want to grab the kit because of the value, that is okay. If you want to get the kit and then take advantage of the discount for your own personal use, that is okay. And then if you do want to try and earn a little bit of income from something that you love, we're absolutely on board with that as well. So you get to customize your experience with Stampin' Up! And I am here to support you 100%. The link is also in the bio. I would be happy to have a conversation with you if you have some questions. That is all for this evening. I'm going to go watch the hockey game. Go Leafs go. And I hope you all have a fantastic week. Bye, everyone.